Hello there. Thank you so much for tuning in. You are watching another one of my accountability shows. This one is entitled Global Scam. Guess what this one's about? It is about the scam that is being perpetrated on the entire world by the left, the communists that I feel are communists, and they're trying to tax us into the dark ages. It's scary. And I've got an expert on the subject here with me, Chuck Wiese, and we're going to get right into that. But before that, I just want to let you know, if any of you aren't aware of me, I'm Lisa Michaels, and I've thrown my hat in the ring for State Senate. I'm running State Senate District 14. Now, if you live between Murray Hill and Raleigh Hill, somewhere in that general vicinity, and you ever seen a guy by the name of Brian Deckert on your ballot, then you can vote for me, because that's the seat I'm running for, and I hope you do vote for me. Also, then we've got, I want to let you know I'm an active member of voter integrity here in Oregon, and I have been down there at Washington County elections watching them count the vote. They're just wonderful people, and they do this thing where they enhance the vote. When you don't fill it out correctly or you erase it and it won't go through the machine right, they have to duplicate your vote on another ballot. And I've been watching them do that, and then they got to the point where they were doing the write-ins, and I was really excited because if you saw my last show, I'm heavily interested in write-in campaigns, especially for presidency, and I wrote in Mitt Romney, as I hope a lot of you did. And 5%, over 5% in Washington County definitely wrote in for president on the Republican ballot. And statewide, over 20,000 people wrote in for president on both the Democrat and the Republican side. So here's for the write-in concept. Well, here's not for the write-in concept, because our Secretary of State, now he's the guy who counts the votes, is in charge of this. He, in his eminent wisdom, decided not to have them count the votes for write-ins. Well, because they weren't going to, the write-ins were definitely not going to have enough to win. Well, that doesn't work out, because this is a proportional state. If you get 3.7% of the vote, guess what? You get a delegate when you go to the convention in the Republican Party, and we got 4.2. Anyway, bottom line is we could have sent a delegate for Mitt Romney if they would just count the votes. So over 20,000 Oregonians did not have, if you voted write-in for president, your vote was not counted. So that's an important reason why you need to make sure that come November, you vote for a wonderful fellow by the name of Rick Dancer. He's an ex-news reporter from Eugene. He's a great guy, and he'll clean up the elections problem, and next time you write in somebody, your vote will count. Now let's get down to business. We're going to be talking about global scam, the global scam that's being perpetrated on us about this so-called global warming, down a whole degree in the last year. It's pretty scary. So Chuck, take it away. Chuck Wiese, a meteorologist. Tell us a little bit about your background.
Okay, Lisa, and thanks for having me on the show. I'd like to say to everybody watching tonight, she's one of the few people that has the courage to actually talk about this. Our elected leadership, I'm kind of disappointed in, because a lot of them are just tied into the special interest that continues to perpetuate this myth about how CO2 is changing the climate and how we have all these disastrous things happen that are not happening. So I really appreciate the opportunity to be with you tonight and talk a little bit about this.
You are more than welcome.
And hopefully, come this November, to anybody out there, remember that she is brave enough to talk about this, which means, in my mind, she's brave enough to talk about the issues. Yep. So think about that when you're casting your ballot.
And I'll keep you posted. If you elect me, I'll keep you posted on all my public access shows. I've been doing them for the last 8 years. I'm running about, 10 hours a week on public access shows. So I'll keep you posted and let you know what they're doing down there in Salem so they do the right things. So you tell them about, how did you get involved? You're a meteorologist, and you have been, and tell us a little about your work
history. I've been a meteorologist for over 30 years. I got my training in meteorology at Oregon State University in Corvallis, and I've been in operational weather forecasting for at least 22 or so of those years, since I've had the degree. And I really have done a lot of things in my life. I run a company called Weatherwise Incorporated, which sells some weather instrumentation and does consulting. And I also do a little bit of consulting for the legal profession in this. But I don't do too much operational weather forecasting anymore. And actually, the reason why I'm not is because I've been involved now in this cause to tell the truth about global warming. Because what I know as a meteorologist, Lisa, is that over the course of time, the education groups in this country, certain parts of academia are misrepresenting how the greenhouse gases really work. They've taken the original constructs that were done years ago and turned them into this ideology that we're warming the planet by increasing carbon dioxide. And anybody who...
Carbon dioxide is our breath, am I right?
Absolutely.
That's your breath.
It's a...
They're trying to tax you for your breath.
It's a greenhouse gas. We'll get into a little bit of the science of this in just a second. It's a greenhouse gas, but remember back in 1970 there was a similar scam that happened with this gas, saying that it could cause an ice age. Because there's two sides to this issue. It's not just one. The side that they're looking at now is the potential warming side of it, which if you take a look at the real science, it really isn't there like they say that it is, and we're going to talk about that.
Good way to think of it is just what I said, the amount of radiation that's actually absorbed by carbon dioxide compared to the other factors such as the Earth's radiation, the atmosphere's radiation, it's very much smaller. And so you can't add any energy to the system even by increasing absorption, because like I said, if you increase the absorption, whatever you get back from the atmosphere, it will radiate an equal amount to space. So you get a benefit.
It's kind of like a boomerang effect.
Yes, it is. You get a reduced rate of cooling at the ground, but you get an increased rate of cooling in the atmosphere. So through the cycle of a day, this washes out. It doesn't add up to warming. And like I said, in 1970, they used the opposite side of the CO2 argument to say that we go into an ice age, and I don't believe that either, but they tried to use that in 1970.
Wasn't his Al Gore's movie, I never went to see that trash, but didn't he go say that he was premising it on going up a whole degree in the last 12 years, and we've gone down a whole degree in 1 year?
We lost in 1 year because of the La Nina this year. We lost almost a degree of global temperature from the latest assessments that have been made.
Wow.
So we literally wiped out 20 years of global warming in 1 year. That doesn't mean we can't warm next year, and nobody can predict for sure that we will, but I frankly like the idea of the sunspots and solar explanation as to what could cause climate change. There's definitely some very strong correlations to that. They need to be looked at, and we need to get ourselves away from this CO2 thing. But unfortunately, in my opinion, because the scientific community has covered up so much about it and insists that these climate models can accurately predict climate,
are they making a lot of money? What's promoting these scientists to lie to the people about this? Because they can't be that. Either they're really stupid or they're lying and they're profiting from it. I don't understand.
I think there's a lot of special interest money. The government spends several $billion a year on this climate research stuff now. There are jobs at stake, and a lot of the people unfortunately involved in this don't want to lose their jobs, and they're going to have to lose something to admit to the public that CO2 is not a climate driver. It doesn't change the climate. It's other things happening around it that are actually causing the climate change, and we frankly don't know McCain, but now he's taking his name off of it.
Wyden is sponsoring it once it gets to the Senate. You got to contact him right away and tell him you're against it. We only have 1 more minute. Is there some phone number or some website or anything that they can go to?
Well, co2science.org is a very good website to go to get good information about climate science and what the true effects of carbon dioxide is. Another one is called icecap.us. So you can go to either one of those two, and they've got all the latest developments in climate science. A lot of the stuff that I just showed you tonight, not all of it, but a lot of it's there with respect to the temperature trends. And it's a very good place to go to get yourself educated about this, because if you listen to what's out there in a lot of the popular media, it's more popular science whiz-bang. It's not the truth.
Well, thank you so much, Chuck Wiese, meteorologist, for helping us out with global scam and learning more about this scam that's being perpetrated. Contact your congressman and your senator about this bill. Otherwise, we are going to be taxed into the dark ages. Thanks for watching. I'm Lisa Michaels, and you've been watching Accountability Global Scam.